Hey, welcome to Con Carolina's Television. I am Bronner, and we are back, and you know what? We're back, and we're strong, and we're gonna, show you a side of us that probably not many of you know, but it's okay. It's gonna be an adventure,
Or maybe
and
you do.
along for the ride. Oh yeah, that's true. Along for the ride, we have a very, very special guest panel. Um, Nick, of course, you guys all know and love. Say hi, Nick.
Hey, it's me. Yeah, very special. It's very rare that I show up to these things, you know.
Few and far
It's
between.
very difficult to get me.
I know,
No,
long time no see.
You're like
I know,
herpes, bro.
forever.
Like a bad penny. Let's go PG. Like a
um,
bad penny.
But
and
no,
then we
I'm
also
excited
have
to be here.
Ryan Anderson, who is a very frequent guest on the show and also a pro in his own right. So we welcome you to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. And then, of course, we have the whole reason why everybody watches, and that
You.
is my beautiful and lovely wife.
It's not me. It's Bronner and his antics.
I don't really have any antics.
You have antics. You have lots of antics. We could spend this entire show talking about your antics.
I mean, I think I'm kind of
You're a character.
controversial and a little old school, a little like brash. I don't know. I'm not kind of woke per se, but that's why I have the young people
You're
also here
special.
representing.
You are
Aw.
special.
You're special,
We're all special in our own way.
right? I'm
That
That
not.
just makes me feel like singing
kind
a
of
Barney song.
Yeah. Let's sing it to us.
We're going PG-13, not PG, right? So maybe we can
Or
hop off
G.
the magic school bus.
I
Well,
want to ride the magic school bus.
I like the Magic
That was a
School
messed
Bus.
up show.
It
It
really
was.
was.
It really was.
Especially if you were taking any kind of hallucinogen. You're
Yeah.
fucked.
There's an episode of that where like got super dark where one of the kids, I think his name was like Arnold or something,
Yep.
I don't know. He's in space and he takes his helmet off and lets himself freeze to death, I think.
Well, he gets
Oh,
God.
That was Guardians of the Galaxy, bro.
No, this was Magic School Bus, man. He like gets angry and he's like, fine, and takes his helmet off and just I think they find a way to save him somehow because it's not that dark, but
Yeah, they
like
do.
very weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
I'm
That
not
took a turn.
encyclopedic about that.
yeah.
All right.
I like that show though. But
It
I
was a
was
fun
weird.
show.
I was the weird kid.
All right. So today's episode is going to be, and we're gonna kind of
Hey,
like,
cosplay.
hey, cosplayer. We're gonna take kind of a little bit of a detour on our normal highway of super nerdiness, and we're going to talk about what our other passions are. Kind of just almost to get to know us on a different level, not just from the con scene or what from us from Con Carolinas or the show, but what other passions do we have? And I have a lot of them. So because I am not the quintessential nerd. I mean, yes, I am a complete and utter Batman fanatic, and everybody knows that. And if they've been to my house, they can visibly see it.
Mm.
Or go to
behind you.
or go to my Facebook page or whatever, right? But we all have other interests or other passions in our lives. So we want you guys to know, and we also want to know what your passions are.
I know,
So
Sean,
throw
right?
them up in the chat, because maybe I'm missing something and I want to get another one, even though I have way too many right now. But hey, I'm retired. I have free
No,
time.
I think it's just a matter of, we're all very eclectic people, We have a wonderful CCTV group and there's a lot to us. And I feel like we've done 2 years of CCTV and we've just barely touched the surface. And, we're going to dig a little deeper tonight. We're going to find out what everybody's made of. Maybe.
I'm getting a little bit of an echo. Is anybody else getting an echo when you?
Oh,
read
I know
out?
what it is.
you guys are in the same room, so
I know, but we share a mic.
I fixed it.
Yeah, she fixed it. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't hearing it on my end, but
I was gonna say,
but I do. I agree with the sentiment. It is good to be a well-rounded person, right? And like, so I have so many different nerdy hobbies, so many. In fact, when I was trying to think of something that's not nerdy that I'm into, I had to go down the list of like comics, video games, LARP, role play, tabletop RPGs, tabletop board games, and then like after I got through like 85% of my interests, I finally got down to like into the dredges and found the things that I like to do that are not nerdy. But it is good to be well-rounded.
Right. So, I mean, in the nerd pyramid of things, Nick's way to hell up here, and
And
we're
I'm like
way the
down
fuck
here.
down. but in any case, he represents us very well, especially since we are a multi-fandom podcast and convention in Con Carolinas. So I think it's a good fit. What about
If it
Mr.
fits.
Ryan? What are your thoughts and ideas about the show topic tonight?
It took me a minute. Like, I don't have too many things that I would classify as non-nerdy
I
about
feel like
me.
such a horrible nerd now. Thanks, guys.
Like
I
it's
need
just
to be a better nerd.
being eccentric about something kind of makes you a nerd, or a nerd is just a way to emphasize like how passionate you are about something nowadays. So like even
True.
sports people are nerds. Like it's like
Okay, I'm a much better nerd now.
like people who do
Ryan made me
fantasy
feel better.
sports are nerds because it's pretty much like D&D but with sportos, and it's I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's a good, actually a very good
Aw.
analogy.
You made me
Yeah,
feel
So
better.
I'm an even better nerd now because I run 2 leagues.
There you go. I could do that.
Everyone
You
can
wanna?
do it. It's pretty easy. You want to be in the
Okay.
league? Come on. All right.
League of Legends.
All right. So who wants to kick this bad boy off?
I think you should go first.
You think I should?
Yeah,
go
go
first?
for it.
I think,
Me?
yeah.
Okay.
I think you're a man of many enjoyments.
Okay. So
and
I'm gonna just start with the first thing on my list.
you have a list.
And
We were supposed to make a list.
no, but I mean I just have a lot of passions. So I've got
So
all kinds
if
of
you
cool
hear
passions.
papers rustling,
So my ultimate passion, of course, is Ray, but
he wants something.
or Batman shit. Yeah. No. Probably my oldest and dearest and most in-depth, across the board passion is music by far. I play
Sean,
couple.
Shut the hell up. Somebody delete that.
Yeah, the Batman Lego set. Thank you, Sean, for the the Batmobile one, especially, is the one I want. The new Batmobile, because I'm in love with that thing. So, which is also another one of my passions. But anyway, music rocks me to my very soul. It all started when I was a kid, and
This might take a while, guys.
yeah, my mom didn't do a lot of domesticated things, and she never cooked dinner. She never did, and she didn't do typical mom shit. She was a lawyer, right?
She's a bougie mom.
She was bougie, and she was a lawyer. But like every Sunday morning, she would put on the turntable, and I guess I said turntable. And for those that you don't know what that is, it plays vinyl records, with a
The kids
needle.
know what records are.
Yeah.
Because vinyl's cool now. So
And it's coming back.
True,
yeah.
it is
so,
coming back.
Yeah,
They're
it's
more
coming back
likely to
to
know
the-
about that than like cassette tapes.
But if you haven't
my
heard,
cassette tapes are cool now too.
What?
VHS is not.
On
Wait, no,
vinyl?
VHS is cool now too. Fuck. Sorry.
What about beta?
Right.
it's an experience. You need to listen to it on vinyl. There's something about it.
Okay, wait.
Go
Wrong
ahead.
segment. Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but in any case, so she would play music like Marshall Tucker Band, Joan Baez, Carly Simon, um, stuff that nobody in our chat or anybody that probably watches this thing has ever heard of.
You're not giving people
But
enough credit.
but it really did. Fleetwood Mac, it really did kind of just come together for me. And I've always wanted to be a rock star. In fact, I would rock myself to sleep every night, and in my head, I would have my Sony Walkman on, and I would and I, and I would be listening to like Kiss Alive too, and I would
Yep,
pretend I was Gene Simmons, in my head, in my dreams. That's what got me to sleep every night, and it just took off from there. I mean, during the '80s, I managed bands. I was roadies for bands, all like the big hair metal bands that you see from the '80s. Yeah, I was either there or tuning their drums or their guitars.
It's easy to do when you live
Yeah,
in California, right by Hollywood,
just over the hill from Hollywood. Yeah.
Hollywood and Vine, the scene. So,
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, but
What are-
all the groups in the chat, CCR, Blondie, The Doors, whatever, I loved them all. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What were your favorite bands that you worked with, that you got to work with?
I would say Graveyard Boulevard. I got to work with them, and that's Ray Frank's band, who happens to be part of Con Carolinas and owns the Comic Mon store. But I loved working for them until I got my leg chopped off, and then but early on there were bands like Angora from. They were from Philly, but John Corabi ended up in the Dead Daisies and a lot of other bands. I did a couple of like porns with the music behind the porns and that kind of stuff that we shot live at Gazzari's with a band called Guts, Gutz.
Not that kind of show.
It wasn't that kind of involvement in porn. It was soundtrack wise. But yeah, but like I don't know. I've worked with so many bands. It's hard to pinpoint. Like Brittany Fox or Johnny D, he was a drummer. I did some road work for him. I mean, there was a lot of great bands that I helped out, and it just forged me, and I loved it.
Cool.
So yeah, music.
That is
Right?
cool.
Censor beep.
What
I need a button.
Software.
like a mute button?
Hey, it's okay.
No mute button for me.
Yes.
The button. Oh man.
Mute button for
It's
Bronner.
just like really expensive. You're not at the point where you need this, but there are those buttons you can make where like if you screw up in a live stream, you click it and it actually goes back 20 seconds and kind of it.
No, we need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
like the delay button.
Yeah. So that way they won't see what you did. But no, you're not at that point. You're really not.
I was going to ask Bronner, do you play any instruments or?
I played the guitar and I loved playing guitar, and then due to illnesses and that kind of stuff, I lost a lot of feeling in my hands, so I wasn't able to play guitar anymore, and
But
it got me into a deep depression. But someone is a brilliant person and said, "Hey, why don't you just play the bass? The strings are bigger and the frets are bigger, and quite literally, I think I can play every song that I've ever tried to play with two fingers, but not saying that I'm walking up and down the fretboard, but I'm saying that was a savior move on my wife's
yeah,
part
it's
for
something that
recommending
he
it.
could still enjoy the passion. The guitar
Yeah.
strings are a little more
But guitar
you
is
gotta
my
have the
soul.
dexterity for it. So
I love the guitar, and I love to sing. So
Yeah, I heard
Sounds
about
like
your karaoke exploits, so I knew you were a singer.
all right. So who wants to go next? I'm sorry, I checked up 10 minutes of our time, but
you're passionate.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
Not it.
You're so passionate. Not it. Are you it, Nick? Or am I it?
Do you want to be it?
I don't care. Actually, I probably should be, only because I should probably ride on his coattails about that. Oddly enough, we're gonna have a lot of similar passions.
What?
I wonder why. We have
Crazy.
stuff in common. Go figure.
I hear that's actually really unhealthy for couples.
Yeah, but
You want
we
to
all
have as little in common as possible.
Really?
No,
We did it wrong.
no, not at all. I'm
right. I
totally
think we're
joking.
a testimony to the opposite. Yeah.
No, music has always been something that has been really big in my life, and I like to attribute that to my parents.
Your dad especially.
My dad especially. He had a love of it, and it had to resonate with him. For him to enjoy a song, an artist, something had to hit him in his soul. Whether it's the lyrics that hit him, whether it was the beat, the just any piece of the music, it had to resonate. And there were many nights that I can remember that all the lights are off in the house, and he's sitting on the front porch with the doors and all the windows open, and just has the stereo blasting, because everybody had to get their surround sound correct. And I honestly think that, like, up until the day he died, I don't think he ever had it correct. He was always messing with it. But
It's a passion too.
it's an obsession. It's not a passion. But it was all kinds of music. It was anything and everything. And they instilled a passion for me in just absorbing everything. I'd go out on a limb to say that I probably have a wider appreciation than Bronner does. I think he's more narrow in his types that he enjoys.
Time out.
No time out.
Oh boy.
Wait a minute. This is Ray time. This is Ray time.
I understand it's Ray time, but the fact of the matter is,
Where's the button?
is that
Where's the
she doesn't know title artists.
No.
She's not. She
Hold
has
on.
a general. Yeah. Okay.
Hold on.
There you go. As general.
I am admittedly very bad about artists and titles. We didn't listen to the radio. When you listen to the radio, you get inundated with, that was so and so with such and such. And you hear it over and over again.
My generation had radio. Yours didn't. I mean, kind of.
Okay. What's your point?
Just saying that.
My point is, I don't have to know the artist and the title to enjoy it and appreciate it. Do I?
Wow.
That's
You're
true.
snappy.
Poop on my passion. See what happens.
I'm gonna be real. I like the perspective there, because I think about that. Like, if it wasn't for radio commentators, because as much as I didn't like breaks when listening to the radio, like, without them saying who did a song, if I was just listening to albums that my parents were playing the whole time,
Right.
I might not know. I mean, it's possible, like, if it's just a complete album and it's like, oh, okay, this is Led Zeppelin. Like, yeah, okay, got it. And I'll pick that up over time.
No,
But if
we
it's
had the
just a bunch of
5-disc
mixes,
changer, and it was,
Yeah.
he would skip songs. He would, go from album to album. Skip
He was always on
genres.
shuffle.
Really, but his own shuffle, because he had a method. He had a theme that he was feeling, and he would portray that in the music that he was playing. Up until his passing, he actually created a CD while he was sick. And that CD was given to the family as far as him being able to speak words that he wasn't able to. He wasn't a communicator. He communicated through music. And that's something that I do as well. I don't exactly communicate.
Well, and I think that to like kind of put an exclamation point on what you were saying earlier about you having more passion than me. She
I
certainly.
didn't say I had more passion.
No. But she certainly has a deep-seated, like in her feels, kind of a emotional connection to so many different songs. Crazy amount.
So let's pull the audience, because it sounds to me like Bronner translated what I said rather than hear what I said. Did I say I had more passion, or did I say I had a wider appreciation that he is more narrow in the genres that he enjoys. Can we roll the tape back?
I don't,
I'm pretty
I don't
sure
know that you
Melissa-
need to. I was just trying to prove the fact that you were being forthright in saying that the passion that you have is
You're not
deep
paying
seated
attention.
and
He's
emotional.
still not paying attention.
Yeah, and no,
You like
have I
fewer
ever.
genres than I do. That's all I was saying.
Do you like polka? No.
Okay.
I like
Do you like
polka.
Greek music? No.
What's
I
your
like
point?
I'm just
when
saying.
Weird
Do you
Al
like
does
Indian
polka.
music? No. No.
What's your point?
I'm just saying that you don't know me.
That's the whole point of this stream.
Yeah,
Are you here to
tell you
confess
the
your love
story.
of polka music, Broner? Is
Oh
that
my God, yes.
I'm
No,
Polish, so
but-
of course I love polka.
You know, I enjoy bluegrass. I enjoy rap. I enjoy opera. I
rap
enjoy
is where she
country.
gets me.
I enjoy hip hop. I enjoy rock, metal, grunge.
Yeah.
There are foreign bands that I enjoy. You know, it's all over the place. If I hear it and it hits me in the soul, I enjoy it. That's my
And
thing.
I don't think this is a dig at Bronner or anything, but I honestly think that nowadays we're exposed to a wider variety of
Wider.
music than there was in the 70s and 80s. It
Yeah.
was just whatever was on your
And-
local radio for the most part.
And I think just to piggyback on that I have a greater appreciation for individual artists, like
Shy down.
yeah, like I mean I just love different bands from different genres, but specific bands. So I don't really have this eclectic thing. I mean, because listen, she's a really kind of a product of the '90s and growing up with '90s music and 2000s
Why does
music
that feel like
is
an insult?
you know, you got the hip hop, you've got the grunge, you got all that stuff. But I mean, I had the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, that I mean, so that's why I think we're
Why do
a
I
little
feel
bit
like-
on the other opposite ends of the spectrum, but
I feel like
the
this
same
turned
part.
into a competition that it's not.
Yeah.
I am going to jump in this a little bit because I think you and I are the same age, right?
Yeah.
We're both 86 babies, right?
We're all
Okay.
86 babies.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's right. Of course. Yeah. Well, hell, I've known that forever with you and me, Ryan, because we were two of the older ones from our grade. But yeah, so okay, 90s had some good music, but when you get into like re-listening to some like probably like mid 2000s era sort of like indie rock was really good.
Mhm.
Really
And like
good.
alternative rock. So I feel like, yeah, we're products of the 90s, but we're products of the 2000s because we were still teenagers during that time period. And
Still
there was some
implement,
really,
you
really
know.
good music from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
You
That
know, I
didn't
think
have that 90s camp. Because 90s did have its kind of camp feel to it. It was a little campy.
And to piggyback off of what Ryan was saying is that, you know, as Bronner is molding his appreciation for music, the variety wasn't there the way it is for us. Because the three of us have kind of the same thing going on here. And so Bronner has what his parents brought to the table and what he experienced on his own, going out to Hollywood and Vine, getting into the bands, getting into the rock, the heavy metal. For us, we have what our parents brought to the table in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, but we also started to branch out onto our own and develop that appreciation for the 90s and the 2000s stuff. So you're able to have that. And then when you also partner into the fact that my parents were eclectic as well, my dad's throwing on Tupac albums and playing that in the
Facts.
house. He's going from Tupac to Pearl Jam to the Doobie Brothers so that's what I grew up with, is that eclectic nature. And then I add my own eclectic nature into it. And I have what I like to call musical ADD.
And that's why I think we should have a music show.
Oh, we really should.
On Con Carolina's TV. I mean, on whatever platform. But yeah, In any case, we've sucked up all the time.
Yes, we're done.
So
Oh,
we're
hey.
done. Thanks.
We're done.
Oh, good. No,
On to-
music is great.
Ryan.
When it
And
comes
that's
to music,
Go
I
ahead.
think there should be one rule for music, though. It's the ABC rule: anything but country.
I have to disagree with
fired.
you. As much as
Nick
is
even
fired.
from a rocker, I disagree with you.
as much as I don't like a lot of current country or country that's been produced over the past 20 years. There's still some good country. Like I like outlaw country. I like more folky country.
But that's folk.
Like
I
Hank
can
the
agree with
Third.
that.
I like Hank the Third a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Hank Williams,
Yeah.
Willie Nelson,
Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Like
George
My
Strait.
dad was
I mean,
big country fan. So
There's some, I
fired.
don't know, Johnny Cash. I feel like he gets a pass. I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
I don't really
he did
consider
the Nine
Johnny
Inch Nails
Cash
song
country,
better than
though.
9 Inch Nails, in my opinion. But it's me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I consider him country.
I mean, he was original outlaw country. He was the prison blues stuff. Like
yeah,
he's
Right.
I agree with you.
I
He
just
started
feel
as
he
a
crosses
gospel
the blues
dude.
line
Like
into
it's
country.
Well, doesn't really all music really kind of cross each other's line?
Yeah.
I mean, just look at Vanilla Ice. I
He's
he can-
crossing lots of lines.
he can play the same song in so many
Sean.
different genres.
Sean exploded when he found music so they can get away from that contemporary Christian and gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to like contemporary Christian too. I used to go see a lot of Christian bands like, Tetra and a lot of Christian bands. So anyway, next on our hit list will be let's pick Ryan.
Okay. So going off of, we seem to be talking about performative things, so it's only fitting that my thing is stand-up comedy. I've always been a big fan of stand-up comedy. I got into it mostly on a dare back in high school. I don't know if you remember this, Nick, but we used to have these coffee houses that were promoted by our school literary magazine, and they needed people to actually perform. So me and a friend were like, "We'll do stand-up," because
And people were very reluctant to perform for these things. It was like pulling teeth to get people to do it, which in retrospect sucks because it was such a cool thing. But at the time, we're all figuring ourselves out. Excuse me. And we feel like if the spotlight's on us, we're going to shrivel up and die.
yeah,
But,
it was, if you were a performer, you either had to be musical or very acrobatic or dance or whatever. And stand up is a thing where you can just get up and talk and try to make people laugh. And I felt pretty confident that I could do some of that, or at least a little bit. And so I started doing that in high school, tried doing it in college, did it once in college. And then the venue that I did it in immediately shut down the week afterwards.
Oh God.
So I had to take a break until I graduated
the house
college.
down.
Yeah. Well, they were
down.
they were a very fancy coffee place, like a college coffee bar kind of thing. And they spent too much money making themselves fancy, and so they hosted 2 open mics. I went to the second one, performed for 15 minutes, and then got told the next week when I asked when are they doing that again? They're like, we're actually closing. So
they bit off more than they could chew.
So then what was the next step after that?
So after that, I didn't do stand-up for a while until I graduated, but I got back into doing stand-up by doing podcasting, actually. I kind of just won't shut up. So I would go to see live
That's
music.
why you and Bronner get along.
I'd go see live music. I'd see bands, and I'd interview the bands after their show and ask them about their creative process and stuff. And then saw that there would be open mics, comedy open mics, and be like, oh, I hadn't done that in a while. And then once again, a friend of mine was also kind of curious. He's like, I dare you to do it. So did it again. And I've been doing it
Note
for,
to self. Ryan can't turn down a dare.
yeah, I respond to challenges. And so, yeah, I've been doing comedy now for about 10 years. Started in Cincinnati, moved back up to New York, been doing it around here. Been to Maine, been to Chicago, been to Pennsylvania. Like,
Baby.
That's so awesome.
not
So,
quite, I wouldn't say pro, but I
All right,
a
semi-pro
very
status.
passionate amateur.
but I'm curious because you said, it's been something that you were into for a long time. Like, who's your inspiration? Like, who were you watching? Because I know I watched specials all the time, and you have your favorites. Who was it for you?
For me, Patton Oswalt is probably my go-to
I love
because
Patton.
he's like, in my opinion, like the perfect like realization of nerd and comedian. Like he'll make an
Goofy
X-Men,
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he'll make an X-Men joke or a Batman joke on stage and make it kill to people who have never read a comic book. Like that kind of thing. That's the kind of level I aspire to. I have some of his books back there. I have all of his specials. Like he's and I've met him twice, and he's a very cool dude. Though the first time I met him was at a Comic Con, and I think it was Chicago, and I was in line to ask a question, and he's like, "I've talked to too many dudes. Can we get somebody else?" So this girl who was sitting down and didn't really even want to ask a question was like, "Okay, I'll come up with something." And I
Sure.
was like, "Sure, whatever, that's fine." Like, I get it. It was a lot of, yeah,
Testosterone in the room.
yeah, but that's a Comic Con
But
sometimes.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the
sometimes.
odds.
It's
So,
gotten better though. Like, I
full
will say,
disclosure, Nick,
at
have you
Con
seen?
Carolinas, there was a lot of all kinds of people. It wasn't very just dudes all over the place.
I mean, it could be.
But before you ask that question, you're talking about what were your inspirations and all. Have you ever been part of like a troupe, like a Second City or anything like that?
Not a second city, but in high school, me and my friends, and into college, we did a sketch comedy group called Fistful of Films, and those
Awesome.
skits are still on YouTube. You can see me with hair if you want to. Uh,
I want to.
and it's very
Hold on.
colorful. I at
Grab
one point
this.
had every color on my arm. And yeah, they're very bizarre and funny skits. And we had one that was set to the Michael Jackson kind of song, the "I'm Always Watching You." There's yeah, so we can't make money on any of them, but they're very funny.
It's somebody's watching me.
Somebody's
I
watching
want
me.
to correct
Yeah.
you from a musical
No,
standpoint. And it
totally
wasn't my
valid.
but he did the chorus.
Yeah.
Not that we're passionate about music or anything, but so Nick, as a really good old friend of Ryan's,
That's right.
have you
Nerdburger.
seen the performance? How many times have you seen him perform?
So I've seen, well, when I was back in high school, I saw some of the Fistful of Films because they would make these videos and we'd watch them. And they were, especially considering that it's a bunch of like amateur high schoolers, they were very funny and the quality was very good. I have seen him perform at an open mic very recently when I came up to New York to visit him. And so Ryan did just fine. Ryan did great. But I think,
we had
Ryan,
a
that you
terrible
would
time
probably agree that the star of the show that night was this one heckler who kept heckling throughout the entire performance. So, like, for context, all the performers that signed up came up and they had about 5 minutes to sort of try jokes, like either jokes that they were comfortable with, but mostly it was like workshopping. So they were coming up and they were trying out new material, seeing what hit, what didn't. And so, like, all these people have come up here and they're like putting themselves out there in front of an audience. and there's this guy in the back of the room that just is randomly throwing out like random comments, and some of them were obscenities and some of them weren't. Some of it didn't make any sense, but he didn't have a mute button,
Yeah.
and so
And we
he
don't
took
have a
up a
bouncer.
lot.
Duct
a
tape
lot of it.
fixes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the problem with open mics is we don't always have bouncers. They're not like it's
Yeah,
not
you
a
really got to roll with it.
yeah,
Right.
and sometimes that's valid. Like sometimes it teaches you to be witty on your feet and stuff, which is a
Exactly.
fun thing to learn. Like
That's what I was going to ask
Yeah.
too.
On a lot of
Well, I would say-
a lot of videos that I've seen with heckling and that kind of stuff, it's when the person responds to the heckler and puts them in their place, I get the most enjoyment out of that. So
yeah,
it does make your chops better. It's got to.
yeah. Like
I
the time that
see
Nick was
that.
up, I couldn't really get him. I wasn't really in that headspace. But the time before that, I had shut this because this guy is a reoccurring nightmare. But
Like a bad penny. That's
yeah.
the metaphor we're going with.
He the last time that he was there, I shut him down so hard that the room gave me like the Def Comedy Jam, oh, and like
Oh yeah, that's good.
loud clap, and he just shut up and sat down for the rest of the evening. Nobody could do that, unfortunately, the night that Nick and Jacqueline were there, but
Well, but I do want to say to your credit there, like I understand like the idea is like, okay, shut him down and whoever gets him wins, right? But at the same time, these guys all had only 5 minutes to do, and like they're up there to try out their own jokes. So what I saw was a lot of people trying to chase down, like, can I beat the heckler? But in that time, like, and none of them did. So they all just kind of wasted their 5 minutes, whereas Ryan didn't really go after him. So he got to try his jokes out, which is kind of like, that's the goal. That's what you're there
Yeah,
for.
he wasn't derailed.
So I think you made the smart decision in just doing what you had prepared instead of just trying to work with this a-hole in the room.
So do you do any type of like improv groups or?
I do not currently. I've taken improv classes. I'm friends with a lot of improv comedians.
I just know a lot of comedians kind of use that in their free time to just keep them fresh and be able to think on their toes and stuff.
Same here, Sean.
I'd love to take an improv class. There are some available near me, and I know some great people that run them. I just haven't made the time. It's been
Time is a thing.
yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to your Netflix special. So
Can I do a plug for a friend of mine who I think
100%.
everybody should see?
Yeah.
Who her name is Jay McBride. She's from the Albany area, and she does have some bits on Netflix. She is getting her own special on Netflix, and
nice.
she's been featured in Amy Schumer's show and has toured with Amy Schumer and stuff. And I really think everybody should go look her up on Netflix.
Absolutely.
McBride, right? You said?
Yep, McBride,
Okay.
Jay McBride, Jaye.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because it's like Ray McBride.
No, that sounds. And Sean,
I'm married to Ray McBride.
me too, but for a different reason.
Oh, I hate that guy.
I know.
Wait, which guy?
Matt Rife. I don't know why I hate him, but I do, and it just seems to be a thing. Like all like non Netflix special comics don't like that guy for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate Superman, and that, I mean that doesn't win me any
Yeah.
friends. But you know,
I'm getting bro vibes from this guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know him. This is all. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. All I did was look at a Google image search. But hey,
There's some broy vibes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's some other vibes too. But anyway, so
I'm lost. All
You
right.
want to pass
Sean,
the ball to Nick?
you and I'll go.
Yeah, pass it.
fun. So I have an interesting segue into this. You mentioned you just asked Ryan if he's done improv, and I did do improv, actually. In fact, to the point where I actually became something of an improv coach myself and taught not like adults, but I taught young like students, teenagers to explore improv. I performed a little bit. I didn't so much do it. It wasn't something I did in high school. I got into like role play in college, and then from there afterwards, when I graduated from college in the Rochester area, I started getting involved in doing some improv, just sketch. And the beautiful thing about that is like when you're trying it out, it's kind of just about like doing it, even if it doesn't go smooth. You
Mhm.
kind of learn how to adapt and think on the fly from just practice. You get hit with these weird scenarios and you kind of like explore them and see where you can go. And I found it just to be very, very, very fun and enjoyable. I always have loved theater, but I don't like memorizing things. So being able to get up there and like, if you give me the gist of what you're looking for, I can kind of find a way there through like, I would do that with role play, but with improv, that was just another way to do that. And sometimes it ends up great and it's very fun. You also learn how to like close a scene, like what to say to bring things to a stop. You when you get good enough at it, you kind of feel your way through like has this scene lived enough, and should it end, and if so, should I end it? Is it my turn to end it? So I loved that. I worked with like I said already, teenagers during the summers and like a creative arts summer camp. I was the improv major lead or whatever. So I would have like 15 to 20 kids who would devote a couple of weeks each summer toward learning how to do improv, among other creative arts. But if they chose improv as their major, they were primarily working with me. And then by the end of that, we would put on like a big show for their parents so they could come out and see how well the kids did.
I
Wow.
love it. I love doing improv. I was that theater geek that loved memorizing stuff, but I also loved improv because you have the show that you put on and you've memorized an hour and a half worth of lines and everything, and then Friday nights was improv, and you get to do something different, and it's a different part of your craft, and I absolutely loved it, and it teaches you like how to read a room.
Hmm.
Yes,
Really, I mean, it gives you
that's true.
the ability to see those clues, and like you were saying, how to end things, when to end them. It's fantastic. I loved improv.
Yeah. And I will say
I
a misconception, just real quick, because while I'm thinking about it, 'cause I think everybody, when they hear improv, they think yes and they
Yeah.
assume that that's kind of like, oh yeah, yes and, so you just have to keep a scene going. But actually, like if you're really uncomfortable in a scene like that, the yes and thing is like kind of a misnomer. You can choose not to engage in a hook, and that is completely okay, because sometimes people will take a scene in a direction that you don't want to go. And if
Mhm.
that happens, it's okay to politely bow out. There's also like the no but. You can like kind of resist and then angle it somewhere a little bit more safe if you're thinking about like the audience and how it's going to play with them. You can do a lot of creative things in order to keep the scene going. Or if there's enough performers, you can politely wait, and then when it goes to something that you're more comfortable with, then you can jump in and re-engage. So
right.
yeah,
And
there's a lot of
and
ways to take it.
and I think all of the things that we've talked about tonight, and all of the things that you just mentioned, um, lend themselves to what we do today, which is being on a podcast. I mean, it gives us literally the little. When I started podcasting, I mean, I had no idea what I was going to be doing, um, but it literally gives you the chops to be able to do it and to kind of reach a core audience, or reach outside of your bubble, and draw some people in. So it's kind of like an appreciation I have of people that do stand up, or people that do improv, or people that do theater. They have that ability to engage the audience and suck them right in, and I admire that. And I've never really had that ability, but I admire it very much.
Oh, he's got the ability to reach people and suck them in. He just doesn't know when to stop. No, I'm just kidding.
Why
He
is
doesn't
this
know when to
Vash
end
Bronner
his
Day?
because you're adorable and it's fun.
Aw. See, that's a compliment, kind of.
That's
He tortures you because it's
Backhanded
entertaining.
compliment. It's horrible. You make me feel like a lesser man.
Compliment sandwich.
All right, so that was your passion. All right. Well, we do have still.
Wait a minute, I have questions.
Yes, go.
Yeah.
I was going to say we have more time, so do you have another passion? And we would just go reversed. But go
Like a
ahead.
quick round robin. Crap, now I can't remember my question.
I have a question for Nick.
Just go line.
Have you, when you were first doing improv, did you ever like break the formula? Like there are rules to improv, as you were saying before. Did you ever have an embarrassing moment where somebody wasn't embracing the rules of improv?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had one where there was a scene that like it started in a good place, and I don't know why it kept like it was one where like roles kind of changed. Like so like you'd be in
Like
the
the
middle of
10-10?
something and then all of a sudden it would actors performers didn't change, but what you were doing changed. And it got to a really silly place, and like at a certain point like people decided to make it so it was like King Kong versus the Incredible Hulk, which just was like, this is kind of dumb. And like, so you have two non-coherent, non-intelligent creatures up on stage. You had two grown men who were literally like ape pounding each other's chests and beating on each other, and there was no good way for it to end. There just wasn't. It was just silly and stupid. And so like to end it at a certain point in time, we just kind of broke and we went meta humor where we're like, I really feel like this isn't going to go anywhere good. Yeah, this is pretty stupid. I feel pretty stupid. I'm a grown man and I'm walking around scratching my head. So like we broke the scene completely in order to get it to a place where we could bring it to a harmonious end and maybe still get some laughs. But yeah, it was unsalvageable.
Yeah.
That's
That
epic.
happens.
I want to see that fight though.
It
I
would
think
make
it'd be
for
pretty
an
one-sided.
interesting summer blockbuster, but not really great improv material.
Yeah, no.
All right, so rapid firing, starting with Nick again. Just go. We're gonna go backwards this time. We'll go. Nick, Ryan, Ray, and then myself. What about another passion? What other passion do you have?
Sure. I love road biking. I'm a huge fan of it. I used to, in high school, I was a runner. And I do still run from time to time. Okay, not from time to time. I'll run like 3 times a week. But running can get, I don't think it's fun. People say like, oh, you're a run for fun or ha ha ha. Like, no, I don't enjoy it. I do it because it's good for you, it's healthy, and I feel good afterward, right? But while I'm actually running, I feel like I'm gonna die. However, when I'm road biking,
when I walk, I
love
feel like
road
I'm gonna
biking.
die.
It's good exercise and it's fun. And like, whereas if I'm running, especially in North Carolina where it's just extremely hot, if I'm running and it's warm out, it's just beating down on me. I'm covered in sweat. I'm exhausted. If I'm biking, you're getting a little bit of a breeze, so you don't feel as sweaty. Like I was even biking I want to say like 90 something degree weather, but because I was going fast enough, I didn't really feel the heat all that much. I felt good. I was able to do that for like 2 to 3, 4 hours on end. I used to be really into it. I would bike like 4 hours a day. That was extreme. I wouldn't recommend that. But nowadays I'll go for like a 2-hour bike ride. Few times a week. I really love it. I also have a gravel bike right now too, so I can technically do some like low grade trails with it, although it really is kind of just a glorified road bike. But it feels good to be on a bike where I don't have to worry if I like go over some rocks that the tire's gonna pop.
I learned something new about Nick.
That's pretty awesome. I figured you had something um, like running or biking or something like that because of just the way you carry yourself and it just had that physique. But yeah, that's very
Well,
interesting
he's
to
been
know that
checking you
about you.
out.
And
Hey
then
man,
yeah, look at you.
you know what? It's a compliment. I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure, 100% it is. All right, Ryan, what about you?
Coincidentally, I'm passionate about frozen burritos. Um, they're delicious. I have a
They
lot.
are.
Uh, the Walmart ones are the worst. No, I
Is
mean
it
I do
just
like
frozen
those,
burritos?
but
Is it all burritos? Because
I
I'm
would have to
passionate about
say
all.
podcasting is my other passion, and it's one or no, fuck that, or frick that. Drawing is my other passion.
Oh,
Ooh,
I'm a graphic design person, and I draw all the time. And my work now is my day job is very physical, so I don't get to draw as much as I like to. And I've been making roads to get at least a couple drawings in a week, as opposed to for sometimes years it's been like once a month maybe. And it's really fun getting back into it and getting into figure drawing and all that again. And lately I've been doing a lot of logo design for people, and that's been fun.
that's awesome. I
that
call
is
Ryan
awesome.
as my Pictionary partner. I just want to throw it out there.
Okay, so in the burrito war,
Oh,
let's specifically talking about Walmart because I mean let's face it, I'm fat and I love burritos too. So in the Walmart world, what color is the best?
Like, are we talking about the super long ones that are in the
Yeah, the
deli?
super long ones that are in the deli that aren't frozen, but
Okay. See,
there's like a blue, there's a red, orange.
I like the red. I think it's the red.
the
Yeah.
red one's
The
good.
red.
Poor Nick.
Yeah.
Poor Nick.
You're not missing anything, Nick. You're healthier than me. You're fine.
Yeah.
right.
Keep,
Yeah.
And
keep riding the bike.
truth is I haven't had a frozen burrito in a couple of months now, because I've sworn off food. But man, they are literally not delicious, but literally
There's just
easy,
something about 'em.
and there's
Yeah.
something about they're addictive. I think they got crack in them.
Probably.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure it's the thing that gives me the shakes afterwards. It's, whatever that is,
The shakes or
it's
the
real good.
Oh. I guess I'll take it from there.
All right, go.
Go. So I have a lot of passions. I really do. And I was debating on two to use as my second one, but I think I'm going to go with one that I have been extremely passionate about for a really long time, and that is animals. Um, I do like all animals. Well, I don't know about all, but most specifically marine life. I am very passionate about it. So, once a year when Shark Week comes around, I force him to enjoy it with me.
Enjoy.
Not just sharks,
you know.
but I think it's everything
Selective.
to do with marine life, the circle, the cycle, how everything plays a part in it. At one point when I was younger, I was like determined that I was going to be a marine biologist. And then I realized that there's science involved. And I went, well, forget that. I'll never make it.
She'd have to math, and that's
yeah.
not a good thing.
There's math. And I was like, all right, I failed before I even started. So
she would have been an awesome marine biologist, though. I have no doubt.
But I still am very passionate about it, and I do make him watch all the documentaries with me.
Mhm.
And he won't do it, but I will find somebody who is going to go diving with sharks with me.
Oof.
Right. I mean, I lost the leg already to a shark, so why would I fucking do it again?
But they're not bad. Stop.
No,
giving
no,
bad
they're.
out.
I enjoyed not equally as much, but she is definitely opened my eyes
Sean,
to it. So
shut up.
for sure.
No.
Yeah, for sure. Opened
I'm
my
gonna-
eyes to it. All right. So my next passion, of course, I'm a huge sports fanatic. I'm a freak. I'm as big of a sports fanatic as Nick is a nerd. Let's put it that way. Um, or Ray is beautiful, or Ryan is funny, or whatever. I'm as big as that. But specifically, I am a huge fan of Mortal Kombat. I mean, MMA, UFC, mixed martial arts. I mean, all of that stuff
I mean,
I
it's
love.
basically Mortal Kombat.
I love. I mean, obsessively love. And I think it's kind of nerdy because it really stems back to gladiators and even medieval times where jousting and doing all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of nerd things that incorporate in that type of a sport. And then pitting a man against another man or a woman against another woman until they say, yo, stop, or they can't continue is just really an amazing thing to me. And not that I'm a fighter or anything like that, but man,
You're an observer. You enjoy observing.
I enjoyed the sport. I enjoyed the
I do
passion
too.
of it. I would have been, Caesar going, yay, yeah, this or this, Thunderdome, whatever. But I love it. And if you haven't watched it, watch it for the technical aspect of it, like a jujitsu section of it, or that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many different types, and
I think that's where
it's
it gets
amazing.
a really bad rap is because to the casual observer, they're watching and all they can see is two people beating the shit out of each other. But there is a lot to it that the more you watch it, the more you listen to the commentators, and you get to see and start to recognize some of those technical aspects and to see how much these people train and how they put their passion
exhausting.
into what they're
Just
doing.
watching it.
There's so many different aspects to it, whether it's the jujitsu, the karate, the boxing, the kickboxing, and they are incorporating all of this, and they eat, breathe, and live this training for this. And
They really do.
to watch them put out and put on their passion, it's an enjoyable experience.
And when I was young, I mean, I grew up watching Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and all the greats, right? And that's what really kind of, I guess, bridged me to the world of MMA.
Yes, Nerd Burger. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Yeah, Thunderdome, good reference, nerd. But yeah, that's and I have many more on my list, but
We talk a lot. We'll have to do like one full episode for each passion. Just
yeah, I
expansion.
mean, I don't know. I mean, the other passion I have is cars, but and
We'll have to get
mechanic
Calvino
work.
involved.
Yeah.
But I also love controlling people, so that's another passion. I mean, I was a store manager for almost 40 years, so
Music, sports, cars, controlling people, talking. Not
talking
shutting up.
another passion I have.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I Calvino, one of our regulars, is also BJJ, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu dude, and I'd like to have him roll around on the mat with my son. I think that would be really fun because my son is passion. Like, take my passion for it and times it by 1,000.
oh yeah.
He knows stats, everything. So crazy.
I have a lot of friends and some comedian friends who are into jujitsu and stuff, and like it's very interesting. They go hard. Like it's fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can hit them with a stick and like their skin just does not move. Like
Right?
yeah.
I just know that I'm of the age now. I'm not that limber anymore. So I appreciate what I see.
I was never that limber, and yours still limber. I'm just throwing that out there.
Anywho, are we rating into anybody? It sounds like we're rating into Ned, our favorite elder being. So stay tuned. Stick with us. Next week, it looks like we have nailed down some trivia. Am I allowed to announce that?
Yeah, trivia is next Thursday, and then the following Friday, we have a charity stream on the Dondero network, and it is awesome. And Nick and I will represent CCTV during the old charity stream, and
Ye
anyone that wants to talk about music and do any kind of a musical content filled show, hit me up. We'll do that late night on the stream. But yeah, with that being said, thanks everyone for your participations, and I hope I didn't make your ears bleed too much.
It was awesome. We got to learn stuff.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for having
Learning
me.
is a passion.
Yeah,
like
you're
learning.
welcome anytime, Ryan. I love the fact that you're a regular, because I love your wit, your sense of humor, and I love the stuff that you bring to the show. And Nick goes without
Especially
saying,
if you're bringing burritos.
you're one of my favorite dudes. So
Nail some burritos.
Thank you. I
and,
appreciate
and,
that. The
and,
feeling is
and you
mutual.
and you pretty much carry the show. So let's just call it what it is. She's the face of the show, and you carry the show.
You're the substance. So basically, I have no substance. Thanks, babe.
Yep.
Okay. Well, on that note,
On that note,
That is-
hi there.
Wow.
bye guys.
Thanks.